Why, hello there, fellow grounders. Rhadamant here. Thank you for tuning in to RimWorld Castle in the Void. Episode 2, Accidental Surface Field Hospital. Now that hydroponics is done, let's lay out some basins. That's a good start. Maybe one more. Because power is really cheap, I'm going to be laying these out in a convenient way so that we can walk around and not care about inefficient use of sun lamps, as that is really not an issue for us. You know, my power network has so much grid excess and can add so much more. It's not really an issue. Alright, that's all the steel I had for now. A lot of these have like partial steel, so let's go ahead and free up some more steel. Starvation, I don't like that. So, travel meals, briefly. And this is all the more reason why I've been focused so heavily on making sure that we had hydroponics up. Because obviously we have a finite amount of food available to us, and I could go down to the surface and hunt, which is probably something I'll intend to do with like Runeloth or Scorp at some point. But for now, we'll try to make do with what's up here. I want to essentially focus on the space station initially, and then we'll go down to the surface to strip it of its resources. I think it would be wise to get a regular light. Maybe there? So we don't have any fail chance for harvesting related to it being too dark. Any of the turrets functional? They are not. I'm going to hold off on the last grow bench. I've got 12 grow benches for 3 people. That should be enough rice. And then, of course, any excess rice can be made into chem fuel, allowing us to use the passenger shuttle a little bit more easily. So there is a purpose to having, like, extra rice, if we end up with extra rice. Now, the barricades in the hallways will break down for steel. But in terms of things that can break down for steel, so we have a little bit of steel left on the map tile, but not, like, a whole lot of it. So there are some barricades outside that we can break. And the hope is to break down enough stuff for like a casket, if we can. Flying, thank you for the resub, man. Always a pleasure to have you here. Okay, what else am I missing in terms of steel? Not much. I think we got most of it. The steel blackboards is one obvious. And then the hallway barricades. I believe we've probably liberated 100 steel on them. No, 84. Okay, so we need to get even more steel. Got it. The other thing I want Scorp to start researching is biofuel refining. Because our shuttle is, of course, a lifeline for resources, and not being able to fuel it up would be terrible. So, making sure that we are able to refuel that is pretty vital to our long-term survival. And then also making sure that the shuttle doesn't get destroyed or anything like that. Alright, let's try to put a casket together. I'm going to get rid of this temporary stockpile zone. And then call this stockpile overflow. At some point, I'll endeavor to make, like, shelves or whatever, but that's going to be a while. Okay, it's a good quality casket. Sweet. And now Felix will also be able to meditate there for psi focus gain. All right, Mr. Scorp. I'm going to have you switch guns with Runloth. I'm also going to have you suffer the unfortunate mispleasure of wearing recon armor that you do not want, that is tainted. And then also putting on the low shield pack rather than the smoke pop. And the idea here is you, my friend, Scorp, will take some packed survival meals and head to the surface. So the current priority right now is to set up a surface micro base. Felix and Runloth eat simple meals. So Felix and Runloth are going to stay up here in orbit. And then Scorp is going to head down to the surface. So in terms of points of interest, let's see if there's any that would be interesting to set up as a microbase. That is like, essentially we want it to be straight down for efficient use of chem fuel. But if there is like wild psychoid plants, that might be a good place to set up our base if we want free psychoid. So maybe let's, oh, it's tropical rainforest though. That sounds not fun. That sounds like we're going to get sick constantly. I might want to set up in the grasslands to avoid constant sickness. There's also glow forests. So there's not a lot of stuff directly beneath us that I think is like awesome. Maybe arid shrubland. Arid shrubland is a good balance between wood availability, biosphere for animals. It's temperate. So yeah, let's go ahead and launch down there. And we can always change our mind in the future, but yeah, I really don't want to deal with the constant diseases that is going to the surface. So as you can see, there's a chem fuel cost. And I would want it to be somewhere where the chem fuel cost is like 50 for an absolute minimum travel. And it looks like the ground here that is arid shrubland is probably where it's at. Now, one other thing that we could consider is proximity to Lodio or Poscanor for trade opportunities. And I don't really care if we're really close to the Impids, because, you know, screw those guys. So maybe right here works for me. So if we settle this tile, it's not so close to the Imperials, the Empire, that it will piss them off. And let's see about, so there's uranium ore there. And what I probably want to do is initially park the shuttle where there's a really healthy amount of ore. So maybe this section. We could also look at Ancient Dangers. Ancient Dangers is a great way to get resources early game. I don't see any on this map tile, though. What about gold? There is gold ore. It's there. Plasteel? None. So there's uranium and gold. Not terrible. In terms of animals, there's plenty of things to shoot and kill and bring back to the surface for food. And then I think initially we're mostly looking at trying to bring back steel and components. So Scorp's going to be down on the surface to try to get as much of that stuff as possible. And he's just sitting here until we can relaunch, because I intend to park the shuttle here so that we can strip mine this section and send it back up to orbit. And yes, it does cost a little bit more fuel to do it this way, but it's going to be a lot easier. All right, another thing for him to do is to cut down some dragger trees to give himself like I said, a micro base. He is not a very good plant cutter. I could also make it out of steel. Maybe I'll make it out of steel. Set up just a few beds out of steel. And I have to keep an eye on his food. At the moment, I don't want to pop the packed survival meals out of the shuttle because the wild animals will eat them. So I'm going to wait to until I have some sort of shelter so that I can keep the food from being eaten by wild animals. Incorporating this micro ruin into our base will be good for, like, beauty. It's next to the anima tree, but I don't care about that because we don't pray to that. Kriv, thank you for the resub. And we are sourcing our food from the grow benches now. Nice. Now let's try to get you a bed. So, construction over mining. No, that's not a bed. Belhar, thank you for the resub as well. Cheers. And I intend for this down here to be a semi-permanent base for a whole bunch of reasons. One, there's not a lot of quests that will trigger up in space. It is a limitation of being in space. Two, I can't call in like trade caravans and the like other than the orbital traders anywhere but space. I mean, but surface. There won't be like wanderers wandering in. There's a lot of things that just don't happen in space. So having a surface base allows us to have those opportunities. Like, you know, the knight calling in for help, running away from a rat for free honor. That's not ever going to happen in space, but it can happen on the surface. And when it does, we can have Scorp or whoever's down on the surface pop back up to space and then bring Felix back down with them to take advantage of those opportunities. So it's having a surface base is kind of a compromise because I would say it's possible to solely live up in orbit. My last miniseries kind of was that. Granted, it was on an asteroid, not a space base. But, alright, Moe's Corsairs. Hey, Felix. I have someone for you to kill. You've got a heavy SMG. You do not have any psycasting abilities, which is good. And I am gonna blood shard you. Dyer, you are missing a lot of blood. You are a salvager pirate, believes in dark divinism. You are a cannibal? You know what? I'm gonna try to capture you as a hemogen donor. Felix is a benevolent vampire. He does not want to torture people. He isn't, like, evil or whatever. But, like, a misandrous cannibal? Yeah, you're not due the same sort of, like, gentle touch that, like, most people would receive. You are a misandrous cannibal that came here to kill us. So, like, yeah, I mean, if we can force you to give up your body for blood, I'm gonna do that. Now, the only issue with wearing the recon armor is we will get cold. It's not like vac suit. One way to counter that is to wear some of the clothing that these corpses have. It's tainted, but like it won't bother Felix. So maybe after this fight, I'll have Felix rummage through these bodies. Like a Mastodon leather shirt should be pretty warm. Where are you even walking to? I like truly don't even know. And then the other thing we could do is get their wool pants. Oh, nice. And vac suit. Don't shoot him. He's basically dead. Dead man standing. Dead man walking. It's crazy. He's bleeding out in like 3 hours and he's still moving around. It's actually legit somewhat impressive. There you go. Okay. Carry. Plop him in here. I don't have a prison. If our kitchen's here, this being a prison isn't unreasonable. It's pretty close physically to, Oh, did he get back? No. It's pretty physically close to where the food is going to be stored. And we'll pop in there. Now, one advantage of having prisoners in space is there's nowhere to run or break out of. So they never try to escape. Also, thank you for the pants. And I'll take this shirt. So, yes, between the Mastodon shirt and the alpaca wool pants, he won't get cold in space anymore. Not nearly as easily. Alright, Dyer. You are going to be humagen farmed. Congrats. Maybe I won't keep the door open, but, yeah. Good job, my man. You got exactly what was coming to you. Force target to wear patch leather shirt. And then I'm going to give you, like, a corpse's... Oh, is this clean pants? No. Is this clean pants? No. I'm going to give you these pants anyway. So you can wear these pants. They're tainted, but we'll get you better pants later on. Cheers. Alright, Mr. Scorp. We'll have a zone here for... Actually, let me rebuild that. A zone here for steel, and a zone here for everything but steel. And that way, I can inject the packets of Rebel meals, and you don't have to... you don't have to starve or anything like that. You can also put a light in there. Ooh, cargo pods. Oh, speaking of starve, 120 pemmican landed from the sky. Yeah, actually, you should go up there and grab that. So here's Felix, Psyfocus resting at the casket. Runloth, it looks like 99%. Okay. Yep, you'll have your work there here in a moment. And then Dyer should be set automatically to have the correct meals and everything. Yes, that is true. Cool. I'm just going to caravan home the pemmican. Because it would have taken 2 trips otherwise. And Dyer got an infection to his leg. Got it. In this case, we might want a bed for him to rest on. So he doesn't succumb to his wounds, his sickness. So Felix is not the best constructor, but certainly better than Runloth. We'll try to tend to you. And if it gets bad, we'll use actual medicine. So just keep an eye on that. Oh, Scorp. You're good. Caught him before he left. So Scorp is still trying to build up a supply shipment from the surface. There's also some other things I wanted to do. Let's see. Go over to this Grand Stele. Break it down for materials. So, yeah, one thing about prisoners is in space, they never try to prison break, because there's nowhere to go. They can't escape. So I don't necessarily... They still might social fight and stuff like that, but I don't necessarily need to, like, nugget them, if you know that slang. That is an unnecessary measure to take, in my opinion. All right, looking good. So you broke that down and then didn't haul the marble back? No, you hauled 50 of it. The hope here was to add some marble table and stool, and then whatever's left over we can, like, floor up a bit. Just to make the shack, like, less awful. Because we don't need any mental breaks. Especially given that there's no one else down here, and the only lifeline is the shuttle. So without transport pods, I wouldn't even be able to send backup. So there's no lifelines. Oh, transport pod crash. They are from the Batrola Covenant. And we should probably save them. We do believe in charity. Oh, they are also a psycaster. I don't know what kind of psycasting they do. But, they have a psylink. Alright. Leave that there. This takes priority. So we're going to tend sail, and then, release them. So I guess, more of our steels getting incorporated into a bed. And I'm going to haul sail back here and stick them in Scorp's bed. Once tended. So they're badly wounded, but we want the goodwill for the other faction, and we believe in charity, so it's kind of important to do that too. I mean, truth be told, I wouldn't mind like a marine helmet, but I'm not gonna, you know, charity fulfilled. Perfect. I wonder if they felt it out in space. Yeah, they did. Sweet. Charity from a distance. So we're slowly cleaning up this orbital base so that the rooms are not uggles. And there's a lot of work to do here to try to get this micro shack from being hideous. But now we can eat at a table, at least. Medical emergency for you. You'll be okay. Immunity 92%. So, it's not... I don't need real medicine. Okay. It is now a hospital of mediocre quality. And we have another bed, and this is, of course, Scorp's. I haven't made any progress in building up a supply to send up to space. I'm really hoping that changes, but we've made some progress here at least. and we are self-sufficient now. We generate more rice than we eat. One of the reasons why I haven't, like, popped open all the cryptosleep caskets is, like, I initially doubted that I would be able to actually feed them. So, the more rice we grow, the more likely I am to pop those caskets open. But, those caskets are obviously, like, an exceptionally good way to get recruits, potentially. So I don't want to waste the opportunities. I want to handle them well and carefully, so that they are, you know, usable pawns that can be added to our colony and not just, like, corpses. Is Scorp allowed to eat pemmican? Yes. He is. So we've got 13 components and 175 steel. I think the next thing I want to build here is the Death Rest Accelerator. Knowing I don't have all the steel for it. Because once Felix death rests, you know, I want him up and able to rejoin us as soon as possible. Another thing I need to make for Scorp down here, which I'll do in a minute, is a wreck. So I'll give him a marble horseshoe pin. But it's a nicer bedroom. It's staying temperate at the moment, so I don't need air conditioning. And I'm just going to do my best to try to keep him sane. Cheers! Alright, Felix. I think I am going to have you research, and then I'll have Ruinloth break down the rest of the structures for deconstruction. Because I want research first. And so that Ruinloth has plenty of work to do. I'll queue up just a bunch of the garbage now for breaking it down. Busy work. But, like, you know, the base will be nicer once it's done. And she will not be doing that over her other tasks. So she hauls, she plant cuts, she cooks before deconstructs. So it's like the lowest priority on her list. Even lower than cleaning. So it's like, we do it when we get to it. But we do want to get rid of all this debris. Serves no purpose. It's just in the way. Alright. Because I've been meditating, I gained a new level of Psylink. So if we open up the Psycasts, I'm going to have you guys decide. What Psycast to unlock? And I'll explain the options and where they lead to, of course. So, we've got Blood Focused. Blood Focus here allows you to rapidly restore your Psi Focus at the cost of Hemogen. So if you are low Psi Focus and you don't have the time to meditate, it's like a super meditation using blood instead of time. We have also got Blood Spew. Blood Spew is sort of like Vertigo Pulse, but it's a vomit ability where we spew forth a fine mist of hemogen towards the target, coating them in a sticky, nauseating blood. Those affected are overcome with intense vomiting. So it's like a... it's not quite as powerful as the Vertigo Pulse Psycast, but it's still pretty good for stopping melee brawlers in their tracks, stuff like that. There is also Hemodrain. Forcibly extracts the blood of a target at a distance and converts it to hemogen. Practical but inefficient. This is like the blood feed, but at a distance. The real advantage here is that this can be done on a hostile target, if I'm not mistaken. Which means it's pretty decent to knock people unconscious if you want to try to recruit them, because it causes blood loss. So if you inflict some injuries, let them bleed out a little bit and use this ability, they will go unconscious with fewer open wounds. Meaning it's a little bit easier to, like, capture sleeping ancients, for instance, or nullifying raiders or whatever. So that's Hemodrain. And then Hemodrain leads to Word of Offering, which is forces the target to offer the blood to the caster. Can even be used on visitors or even during combat. Actually, this might not be combat. I forget exactly. And then the last one is Close Wounds, which is similar to Coagulate, but it's like a self-coagulate. So Coagulate, obviously, is the Sanguophage ability where you coagulate someone else's wounds. This is like, stop your own wounds from bleeding. And the Close Wounds ability leads to Corpse Explosion. Corpse Explosion blows up a corpse. And then those that got affected by it become injured, or become covered in blood mist, rather, and then are also forced to vomit. A lot of the hemosage abilities low on the tier are about, like, disabling enemies. They're crowd control abilities, essentially. So I'll have you choose between those options. And I give you 2.5 minutes to vote on that. Timer's right above my head. And this will happen when Felix Psyfocus gains. And there's a whole bunch of other ways to, build up his abilities, but that's a pretty good one. Alright, in this stockpile, I'm going to do critically important that fresh animal corpses get plopped here. One of the things I'm considering is, maybe not on this run, but on a future run, hunting on this map tile. Hunting dromedaries, for instance, and shipping the dromedaries up to orbit, or butchering them in situ if Runeloth is the one down here, and then bringing the meat up and the leather up, because that's more weight efficient. But either way, something that we could potentially do. Inspired surgery. Cool. I don't have any need for surgery at the moment, but neat. Alright, Slaver is approaching. They are from the Pact of Cone. They're the gentle tribe who do revere blood feeders, and they worship darkness. I don't really have anything to trade. I'm not gonna enslave Sail. Oh, maybe I should feed you food. Did they just eat? No? Oh, travel meals. Yeah, that would explain. Alright, looks like Hemodrain is the ability to grab. Got it. Now, alternatively, you can also upgrade your natural stats instead of pick a new ability, but I think initially the abilities are more important, but later on that might not be the case. Well, you have a little child? A little Neanderthal child? Oh, actually, you have a few of them. Starjack child, that's strange, because Starjacks, of course, are not born, they're made, but whatever. Quest available, the Hunted Praetor. Okay. The Hunted Praetor is going to be an important one for us, because this is an honor quest. And what this means is I'm going to want to accept this with Felix on the surface to receive the honor. And apparently this is Squirrel's Town. We haven't had the opportunity to name this area just yet. I do not want it to be Squirrels Town. But, I guess fine. So what I want to do is get this shuttle up to space, sometime in the next 2 days before doing that quest. So the current priority right now is bring up surface materials and guard the night. Who are you even trying to sell? The children. Think of the children! Or Galag. Who is this one? They're really good. Neanderthal melee. I mean, if I had the money, I would consider it for them to join. They are also apparently a psycaster, which is a little tricky. The reason it's tricky is we don't allow people to join us that have any psycasting ability other than this hemosage. So the fact that they have some sort of psylink indicates to me that there's a high likelihood that they would be the wrong type of joiner, and it would be a waste of our money. Because if you're not a hemosage, we don't really want you. In fact, we can't have you join. Be an issue. Alright, up here in space. Dyer is giving up his hemogen. Something else I could probably do is, at least for now... Well, no, let's do it like this. Let's do it properly. I'm going to put a wooden shelf here for hemogen. And then a wooden shelf here for drugs? Other drugs? Probably drugs that don't require freezing. Not that I have a freezer yet, but I will eventually, hopefully. So no ambrosia, no silocaps, but everything else. Because ambrosia and silocaps spoil with heat. So we've got 2 days to accept this, 1.7 days rather, and what I want to do is just load up this shuttle with as much stuff as I can. Ideally steel, because that's what we're really bottlenecked on. But what I might end up doing just to fill the remaining weight, because I don't think I'm going to have enough time to fill it all with steel, is I could fill it with like stone chunks, like slate, because we don't really have any stone up in space. Or alternatively, fill it with like dromedary corpses, which would be good for meat. And not necessarily a terrible idea to do. So perhaps that's the tactic, because we can start making fine meals out of the rice and meat and stretching the food so that it's higher quality. Oh, another transport crash. Not affiliated with a faction. Yeah, okay. Hi. I will rescue you, you slow-learning psychopath. But, our cabin's kind of getting a little full. So, like, could it stop raining men and women? That'd be great. Because, like, I low-key can't really feed you guys. I get the storytellers trying to go like, here, join her, join her, join her. Oh, what are you, dead vulture? Where did that person go? Oh, there you are. The issue here is they're 15, so they're a child. And then I'm not going to force them to join, but like, they have a psylink, so I have no idea what abilities they have, which could in turn be ultimately an issue. I won't know unless they choose to join, and then I guess we'd have to banish them, I suppose, if they end up with an ability that does not suit our needs. So maybe tomorrow morning what I'll do is I'll fill the rest of the shuttle, because this thing has a lot more weight. It's 190 out of 500, and even with Scorp in it, it's going to be only half filled. So I'll fill it with some dromedary corpses. And just butcher them up in orbit. Bye-bye, Cone. Thank you for visiting us. God, you guys are... Oh, this is going to be... Ooh, good question. What do we call the surface settlement? I'm just going to call it Outpost. Very unoriginal, but it works for me. What happens is if we manage them in space, I don't think we would do that. They're just stuck. If we did. Alright, you allow travel meals and feed. So in the morning, Scorp, you are going to be assigned to hunt. That is a 1. And I will hunt dromedaries, hauling their bodies here, and then sticking them into the shuttle. Alright, we have 24 hours to do the quest. Quest is going to be really easy, of course. But I just want to make the most out of the shuttle fuel that we're using. Dang it. That's not how to hunt. Okay, I'm taking over. Alright, there's 1. So if we set to load the dromedary corpse, obviously it fills up a lot of weight. That was always the intention. And yeah, like eventually I'm going to butcher in situ down here. I don't want this outpost to ever be built up that much. Right? It's really an outpost. I don't want a lot of wealth down here. For security reasons. Also, for a lot of other reasons as well. But, alright, that's my last meal here. You fatties. Charity, right? Alright. 2 camels. Steel. Go. Bye-bye, Sail and Sorry. I'll be back. Just in a minute. Thank you for tuning in to RimWorld Castle in the Void, which originally streamed live on Twitch as a miniseries marathon. If you have any questions for me, let me know in the comments below. I am not, however, looking for feedback because this streamed once only as a marathon and it cannot be incorporated. If you would like to join my online community on Discord, Rhadamant.com has a link to it. If you'd like to join my Patreon page, you can also find a link to that in the description as well. Thank you so very much for watching. Special thank you to my Twitch subscribers, Patreon patrons, especially those that suggested this specific scenario, which would be Runeloth, Felix, and Scorp, and also viewers like you that support the channel and made it all the way to the credits. Thank you so very much. I hope to catch you on the next episode or an upcoming stream. Farewell, my fellow Sanguophage worshippers.